Oh, I'm an introvert. I'm not good on camera. I'm embarrassed in front of people. Like, and you're just like, you use these as like excuses, and you're like, no, be honest. You're shy, and you haven't done this before, and it makes you scared, and that's fine. Just accept that, because if you accept the excuses, then who won here? The excuses? It's definitely not you, and now you have this lie that you now convinced yourself that you're just not a good on camera, and so you'll never be good on camera. It's like, who's good at anything? Really, I always started and it was just amazing. It's like, yeah, like it's the unicorns. Unicorns don't really exist. So let's get real. You suck because you haven't practiced enough. I did realize that honesty has always been a major theme for me. And it's kind of funny because I actually tie it with efficiency, which is kind of weird because you think like, how's honesty tied to efficiency? But lying is super inefficient. If you think about
Yeah,
it, you're
that's
like,
true.
man, you tell a lie, then you got to remember the lie, then you got to maintain the lie, and then you got to hope that doesn't conflict with another lie. And it's just like, I think I was around 14 or 15 when I was like, man, this is so much work. I'm just going to stop. Like, I'm just going to tell the truth as much as I can. And then I don't even care about the consequences. They were always going to be the consequences. I'm just going to address them now. And then I don't have this building thing over my head of potential consequences. So
Yeah.
that was a good realization because you see
I was
people
actually,
wrap themselves. Oh, it's so much work.
yeah, I was actually at, transparency and honesty are things I really tried to do, but I was listening to an audiobook today. It turns out it's some British woman and someone recommended it to me. It's like, I think it's called The Unbridled Joy of Sobriety or something like that. But it's
Mm.
like her journey from, having trouble with alcohol to becoming sober. And I'm in the beginning parts where she's really laying into the low spots that she found herself in. And kind of what you just said, she's like, one of the worst things for her about drinking was, of course, there's the physical issues and hangovers and all that, but like it kept requiring her to tell lies, like to her employer or her boyfriend or whatever, like to cover up what was really going on. And then eventually, like her whole life was a cobweb of lies, and she was trapped in it, and she could never actually be truthful because it would conflict with all the lies. And so I totally resonate when you're like, lying is inefficient, like our honesty is more efficient. Yeah, totally makes sense, because like if you don't have to keep track of all these different things you made up for different people. So
Yeah,
that's
well, and it goes way deeper than that in terms of like, because you lie to yourself. Like if you make a habit of lying to other people, like the person you're probably lying to the most is you, and it could be about things that really matter. About your interests, your hobbies, your friends, your every relationship you have could be skewed by this self lying that you do to make everything okay. Where you're just like, okay, well, this person, I know they're bad and they're really not good for me, but you know what? I can handle it. Like, yeah, I deserve that kind of treatment anyways. And so, and you can see just with that one example, you're like, oh
yeah,
no, like you
yeah. Or
just,
like I really want to have this kind of business, but I'm not the type of person that could do that. Or or like I could never achieve what this person has achieved. Or
oh, I'm an
yeah,
introvert.
yeah,
I'm not good on camera.
yeah.
I'm embarrassed in front of people. Like, and you're just like, you use these as like excuses, and you're like, no, be honest. You're shy, and you haven't done this before, and it makes you scared, and that's fine. Just accept that, because if you accept the excuses, then who won here? The excuses? It's definitely not you, and now you have this lie that you now convinced yourself that you're just not a good on camera, and so you'll never be good on camera. It's like, who's good at anything? Really, I always started and it was just amazing. It's like, yeah, like it's the unicorns. Unicorns don't really exist. So let's get real. You suck because you haven't practiced enough. Oh no. So practice more.
So we're going to transition here in a minute to kind of a smart strategy session, unless you do some teaching, which I know you love to teach. But before we do that, like I know this may be a tough question because you're only 2 weeks into this new role, running your own thing again. But you got the AI branding boot camp, you're doing the consulting, we've got a good snapshot of like what your business looks like today. But if you think 1 year, or even 5 years in advance, do you have more of a vision for where this is headed?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, because I love working with people like you, where I'm like, man, you got a great product, you're passionate about what you do. Like, if I could just promote you somehow, like that would actually give me the most satisfaction. And so I think long term would probably be, and that's why I call it Media Mark, because it's probably going to turn into like an expansive content platform where I get to promote my friends and awesome services. And honestly, and this is kind of ambitious, and I did this with the last business and it didn't quite work because the last goal of my last business, my agency that I built websites and brands and essentially tried to create like marketing ecosystems for small companies, was
Hmm.
to fix the internet. That was the
Okay.
objective. And the goal or the methodology was going to be, okay, most of the content you find online was generated by marketers. Marketers are not doctors and they're not lawyers and they're not landscapers and they're not plumbers and they're not all these things. And so I thought, man, if I could just train the business owners to make content and to do marketing, then they could represent their brand authentically. They'll put out good content that's real because they're doing the thing, and we fix the internet. And so that didn't really work because nobody likes marketing except for marketers.
Yeah.
So I ended up a digital marketer where I got to teach marketers all the stuff, which was awesome. But this goal I have is actually to fix marketing. So the goal is to elevate the profession and the practice of marketing. That is kind of the end goal where I say, man, if we could just, show up authentically, and if we could do that through our brands, and every element of our brand is consistent with that base philosophy of what you're trying to do, then that's authentic marketing. It's not tricking people into buying something. It's not saying, hey, I have this giant target market and I know that only a portion of that target market actually needs to buy right now, but I need more money. So I'm going to sell to everybody. I'm going to convince everybody that they need this solution right now because I've got to scale. And I'm like, no, just sell to people who need the thing and do a good job. Like all of the business problems that we have today, if you just take it back to like, hey, I'm providing a solution to people who have a problem and I really care about them getting the solution. You just fixed business, you fixed marketing, you started eliminating all the lies that we've built over so many years to convince ourselves that this is the only way to get business. And it's pretty ambitious, but I network with people like you. You're doing it already, so we're all there's quite a community of people working towards this goal. And I think if I could just highlight those people and highlight that information, then there you go. And now all the new marketers coming online will say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you don't trick people into buying anything. You just do a good job."
Yeah.
Oh, fixed. It was so easy.